Every day, he saw people talking about the stock market, but none of it made sense to him. Headlines kept flashing. Crashes, profits, losses. It all felt like a foreign language. He always wondered, how does this whole system actually work? Then, one day, a friend mentioned making money from stocks, and it caught his attention. Part of him was excited. Another part was scared it was just luck. That night, the question wouldn't leave his mind. So he decided, tonight, he would finally understand it. But the moment he searched, he was hit with numbers, charts, and confusing terms. For a second, he almost gave up. But then he told himself, everyone starts somewhere, and so did he. He started simple, just him, a notebook, and one question. What actually is a stock? He learned that companies need money to grow, to build, to expand, to dream bigger. So they offer small pieces of themselves. Each piece is called a share. When he buys a share, he isn't just spending money. He's becoming a small owner of that company. People buy and sell these shares every single day. That exchange is the stock market. When a company grows and does well, the value of his share grows too. But when the company struggles, that value can fall, sometimes fast. It wasn't luck. It wasn't magic. It was simply ownership, growth, and risk. Suddenly, the confusing charts started to make sense. For the first time, he didn't feel lost. He felt like he was starting to understand. He learned that the stock market is simply a place where buyers and sellers meet. Some people want to buy shares. Others want to sell theirs. That exchange keeps everything moving. With one tap on an app, he could become part of that exchange himself. He was amazed. Thousands of people were buying and selling, all at the same time. And the price? It all came down to one simple rule: demand and supply. Excited, he explained it all to his friend over coffee. His friend was surprised. It sounded much simpler than he'd imagined. But then a deeper truth hit him. This wasn't about getting rich overnight. It was about patience. Real growth took time. Days, months, sometimes years. And for the first time, he wasn't afraid of that. He was ready to wait and grow. As he dug deeper, he realized stocks weren't the only option out there. There were mutual funds too, baskets that held many small investments together. Some options felt risky, promising bigger rewards. Others felt safer, but grew slower. He understood now. Every investment was a balance between risk and reward. So he started planning. How much to put where and why? He thought of it like planting a seed. Small, but full of potential. With time and patience, that seed would need to grow, little by little. That night, he wrote down something simple but powerful, his first financial goal. He could finally picture it, the future he was building, one small step at a time. This wasn't about quick wins anymore. This was about commitment. The next step felt bigger than all the learning before it, actually opening an account. His hands were shaky. This wasn't theory anymore. This was real money. He hovered over the button, heart pounding, doubting himself for a second. But he tapped it anyway. And just like that, he owned his very first share. For a moment, he felt unstoppable, like he'd finally crossed into a new world. But the very next morning, reality hit. The value had dropped. Fear crept in fast. His finger moved toward the sell button. But he stopped. He remembered. This wasn't supposed to be instant. He thought of the little plant, growing slowly, needing time, not panic. So he made a choice, not to run, but to hold and trust the process. Weeks passed. He checked his phone again, and something had changed. It wasn't a huge jump, but it was growing, slowly and steadily. Then one day, his friend came to him, visibly stressed. His friend had lost money, chasing a hot tip from someone online. He didn't judge him. Instead, he calmly shared what he had learned. Real investing wasn't about tips or luck. It was about research. Before buying anything now, he checked the company's actual performance. He learned to say no to impulsive advice, no matter how tempting. So he wrote down his own simple rules, a promise to himself. He wasn't just investing money anymore. He was investing in discipline. Then, without warning, it happened. The market crashed. Numbers he'd never seen before. Red everywhere. Panic in every headline. His mind raced. Every instinct told him to run, to sell, to escape. But something stopped him. His own notebook. His own rules. He closed his eyes and breathed. Slowly, his panic began to fade. He thought of a tree bending violently in a storm, but never breaking. Storms pass, and when they do, the tree that held on still stands tall. So he made his choice, not to sell in fear, but to hold with faith. The next morning, he watched the sunrise, a quiet reminder that things pass. He realized something powerful. He hadn't just survived a crash, he'd grown stronger from it. Slowly, the market began to recover, just as it always had before. This time, instead of fear, he felt something new: confidence. He decided to go further, setting aside a little more every single month. He built a habit, small, steady investments month after month. Each coin he added felt like another step on a staircase he was building. One day, his friend came back, this time not stressed, but curious. He shared his notebook, his rules, everything he had learned along the way. Looking back, he could see how far he'd come, one small step at a time. He didn't feel like a beginner anymore. He felt ready for what was next. And just like that little plant from before, his patience had finally bloomed. A year had passed, and when he looked at the graph now, he could barely believe it. He placed his first notebook page beside his latest one. The difference was undeniable. That little plant he once watered was now a full, strong tree. He finally understood the real secret: compounding. Small growth, repeated, becomes something massive. Looking at his total portfolio, his hand moved to his chest. He felt it deeply. He shared the news with his family, unable to hide his excitement. They looked at him with pride, not just for the money, but for who he'd become. Staring at his reflection that evening, he barely recognized the person looking back. He wasn't scared of the future anymore. He was ready to welcome it fully. This wasn't luck. This was proof that patience and discipline truly pay off. Time passed, and now he stood in front of others, teaching what he once struggled to learn. People listened closely, just as eager as he once was. He simplified it all into 3 words: learn, invest, be patient. For a moment, he looked back at where it all began. One confused night, one phone screen. Now he was planting something new, helping someone else start their own journey. He handed over his notebook, the same rules that once guided him. The younger stick man held it tightly, eyes filled with the same hope he once had. Standing on that hill, he saw just how far he'd truly come. It wasn't just about money anymore. It was about growth, real, lasting growth. The stock market once confused him. Now, it had quietly changed his life, one patient step at a time.